We're gonna work with some more of this copper sheeting. It's fun and it's fun. So careful again not to cut yourself. This fancy little stuff on the back I think just keeps the air from getting to it. If you stack them, then you know they stay shiny, because that's how it starts to oxidize, which is a fancy word for, well, I don't want to say rust, that's more when you're talking about iron, but it starts to bond with the air and other components and turn darker colors that sometimes you like, sometimes you don't. Anyway, let's get these fancy shears that are made for this, and let's do some fun shapes this time. What should we do? Let's try a leaf. See how that comes out. And notice you always want to draw your design first and then spend about 14 hours agonizing over whether you made it perfect or not, because that will take all the joy out of your life, and that's really the goal of everything. I'm finding these shears are easy to cut until you try to do pretty sharp curves, then they fight you, but you just fight them back. Now you could fight them by just muscling it in, but when I say fight them, I actually mean like that. So I think I showed this piece of copper who's in charge now, and we're good to go. Now we're gonna do earrings, so we want two of these to match. So even though I really like how that's already curving, I'm gonna have to get it flat again so I can match it. Really should be wearing gloves, but I know you guys look forward to seeing my hands every day, and I don't want to deny you. All right, so this one we're actually going to draw on the copper a little bit, just a little bit. We'll try to cut inside of that. It's actually a very satisfying feeling. It's a little bit harder than cutting some things, but it's very smooth. It's a very smooth feeling. Now, for those of you who haven't seen the other videos and are unfamiliar with the process, this is a flat piece of wood, this is a piece of leather, this is a baby anvil that I stole from a village of elves. And so you can put this on your lap, and I find that that's ergonomically a lot easier than trying to put it on a hardwood floor. You don't want to put it on a tabletop unless you have an incredibly sturdy table, because you're going to start weakening the table and shaking the whole house and making loud vibrations. But on your lap, your legs will kind of pad it, where all the force will get put into the anvil. And so I'm going to try some different ways to texture it. Luckily, somebody sent me the missing hammer, also stolen from the baby elves. So, I don't know if they were baby elves. They look small. So we're going to try this. We're going to try regular hammer. Somebody sent me this. Apparently it's made for jewelry hammer. And it has a see-through side, so you can look inside it and wonder what your life is going to be about. And then it has the rubber side where you can just test it on underneath your knee to see how good your reflexes are. Now they have this thing called a ball peen hammer or something like that. I don't know what it is. It's like a metal ball, and that makes like nice little round divots. And if we had that, I would show it to you, but we don't. But I described it, so stop complaining, because now you can imagine it. All right, let's start with the little baby one, and let's see what this does. Ooh. So it does little tiny. It's kind of good for rhythm. Now let's try the big hammer. Now obviously if he goes flat, it's just going to flatten, so we're going to go with the corner, the edge. Whoops. There we go. I kept hitting that little edge there. Whoops. Try not to stab yourself with this by shooting it off. This is very hard to control where I'm hitting, but I'm getting the hang of it now. All right, so that's cool. I like those little round divots, so I wish I had one of those round hammery things. Some scissors. Let's try some scissors. That's not too good. That's mostly just going to hurt the scissors. Let's try the back end of the hammer. There we go. Oh, that's controlled now, and I can see where I'm hitting. You can kind of do ridges up the side of the leaf, like a real leaf. Yeah, that's not bad. It's fun texturing. It's definitely not those cute little round divots that I'm hoping for, but I'm trying to look around the studio, see if there's anything I can use. Okay, I found this old beat up drill bit that I'm not too worried about hurting. So let's see if we can get some little, it's a little bit rounded on one end. Let's see if this will work. Ready? Yeah, it's kind of making something. It's not making those cool little divots, but kind of see those little half round circles like right there. That's something. It's a little, that's kind of cool. It's more than just lines. Let's put a few more of those in. Excuse me, camera. I started doing this next one, and I'm having the most luck with just the claw part of the hammer. So for now, because I can control it and I can even turn it as I hit it, I can actually make like a sunburst design coming out from the middle if I want. So this is kind of giving me the most fun stuff. And then I'll just take the drill bit and put a few little pock marks in the middle. I think that'll be cool. Okay, and those really do look more leafy with that texture. Now the most important part of all, do not skimp on this part at all, is sanding these sharp edges so nobody gets scratched, nobody gets injured, nobody has to call 911. You don't need the tip to be this sharp, and you're going to find yourself trying to sand it off, and you can do that, but it's easier, I found, to just round the tip just a little bit with your shears. You're not going to lose any of that cool leaf look, just a little bit of rounding. And right there already it's not really pointy or scratching like the other one. But then you want to get sandpaper, and you really want to, I'm not going to tell you the best technique, but I just kind of start here and kind of move my way around, try to round it. You can actually sand it sharper if you're not careful. So that's a lot of movement and, you know, getting into a rhythm, and then feel it every now and then. Now, again, remember, you don't want to run your finger all the way across it like that, because if it is sharp, you're going to slice your finger right open. Whenever testing anything sharp, like a knife or anything, you want to go like this. You want to go sideways across it and try both ways. That way you can feel the sharpness without actually cutting off one of your fingers. And if you do cut off your finger, then, you know, you should try to figure out an art project to do with that. But that's for another video. You can also get a Dremel tool, which I suggest. They're really low price nowadays. You can use that. You can get a belt sander. You can do this you can get a block sander or a sanding sponge, which I find is really comfortable and easy to use. But whatever you do, take your time. I'm not going to tell you how long. If it takes you a minute, if it takes you an hour, 2 hours, just make sure this is smooth and not scratchy. All right. Now, you're probably going to want to punch a hole in these. This is a punch made for metal, and it's so satisfying. You just put it right where you want it, and pop! It pops right out. This gives you this cute little hole just made for a jump ring. Now we could stop here, but I would like to give these guys a little bit of a 3D effect. Right now they're kind of 2D. See? There it is. And where'd it go? It's just a line. Oh, there it is. So I think if we wrap it around something round, just kind of just press it, just get a little bit of a round feel to it. There we go. And that's even a little bit more than I wanted. I'll just pull it back a little. And you can also use your pliers. It's good if you use your pliers if you want it to be smooth. You do a little bit at a time like this, and you just slowly start to move it. Sometimes you can get a smoother effect this way. Then I just tried to bend it around that round thing, and I kind of more made a corner than a perfectly rounded piece, but that's okay. We'll fix it with our pliers. Just get a little bit, little movements, getting it how you want. There you go. I kind of like that. A little bit less, still too much. Subtlety, the art of subtlety, is a huge difference. A huge difference. Somebody once said, a wise man once said, the difference between the right word in a certain situation and the almost right word is the difference between lightning or the lightning bug. And I said, that is so profound. Not really, but I wanted to quote it at some point. I bent each one a little different. I used a little bit of the wood back of the hammer. I used a little bit of pliers. I used a little bit of just my fingers. You know, you can do however you like. Let's give it some cool accent beads at the top, and I think we're done for these cute guys. Oh, this bare copper is not coated. Most of the findings you will get, findings means jewelry pieces and connectors. So most like earring hooks, jump rings, stuff like that. Most of it you find it, if you find it in bright copper to match, it will not be, it probably will be coated. So this guy will start turning dark and your other stuff won't. So what you want to do is seal it. Make sure you get a sealant that works on metal. This Rust-Oleum Crystal Clear, this certain type, it works on metal, as they say. But make sure you seal it. And if you want to patina your metal or purposely cause it to oxidize in a controlled setting, which can give it a wide range of colors, we'll work on that for some future videos. So for now, let's pick some pretty beads, put them at the top, get some bright copper wire like this that is coated, and string them around there. So I'm going to take about 9 inches of 20 gauge copper and thread these little beads. You could just thread them right through, make a loop in a loop. That's it. But I'm going to make a little design over the top here, and then I'm going to do the diagonal wrap around these two guys. I'll show you real quick.